Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 62 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does FM with the New York Red Bulls. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today we're beginning our first full season in charge here of the New York Red Bulls, and we started off with an unexpected trip to the CONCACAF Champions League, the first round, where we've got a very tough draw as we take on Tigres from Mexico over 2 legs. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to those 2 games coming up. In today's episode, we'll probably also sneak in the hot spots for that away trip before the second leg, but this first one is at home, and considering how good Tigres do look, I think we're going to need a pretty good result here from this first leg, albeit I'd like to think it's a bit likely off the back of the transfers that we have done going into this season. If you missed us going through those in yesterday's episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. A lot of new faces here at the Red Bulls, and it does mean now we look like one of the stronger teams in the MLS instead of a bit of a mid-table team. So hopefully can do a decent job here in what might be our only crack at a Champions League here in North America. But Tigres is who we've got here in the first round. You can see already that the team that finished runner-up in the MLS Cup, Real Salt Lake, they got held by Pachuca. Somehow, though, we got Tigres, which, considering some of the other teams who are available to play in this first round, does seem a little bit harsh. But to be fair, I didn't think we did well enough last season to actually qualify for this competition. So I suppose it makes sense we finished 5th in the Supporters' Shield, which I'm guessing is how we got here. We were 3rd in the Eastern Conference, but of course, then got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. So we're a little bit lucky to actually be in this competition. If we get through this, we should be making our way through to the quarterfinals, because either us or Tigres will take on Cibao FC in the second round from the Dominican Republic. So it's fair to say if we get through this, we should make our way through to the final 8. Those guys must be the champions there of the Dominican Republic. That's how they've made their way through to the second round. But fair to say, whoever wins this game, and with a pretty big chance to make their way through to the quarterfinals. But Tigres, a pretty good team coming out of Mexico. In terms of the season preview, I'll actually try and find this here for the Mexican League and just see where they are predicted to be finishing. They're one of the favourites, so one of the stronger teams we take on here out of Mexico in this first round. We'll also just check and see here how many players they might have in this overall Dream 11. They're the dark yellow players. They've got 3 there, including Harvey Barnes at left wing. That's certainly an interesting option. Scottish these days. What on earth is he doing over in Mexico? That seems a little bit strange, but Tigres is who we've got a very good club, the same reputation as us, but coming out of Mexico with less restrictions on them in terms of squad building compared to the MLS. They're probably the favourites going into this tie, but their captain would be Renato Tapia. Their manager also likes a 5-2-3, and we have struggled at times against that formation so far in this save, albeit his overall win percentage as a manager there isn't too good, so fingers crossed he might be the weak link there at Tigres. But Renato Tapia is the captain, 34 years old these days, is the Peruvian, a handy player, and is pretty well rounded attribute-wise. So despite the fact he is getting on with over 100 caps there for the international team, he does look quite handy. Going down to their vice-captain, Issa Diop. So to be fair, a couple of big names here in this Tigres team, but he is suspended for this first match, but might be back in time for that home leg. Is a very good player, especially when you compare him to some of the guys here in the MLS. Issa Diop with a lot there with Premier League experience could be a handful in that second leg if they do opt to play him. But their key player, that'd be Ramiz Zarouki, who is an Algerian defender come midfielder, the same reputation as Issa Diop, and to be fair, has spent time at this save at Arsenal before joining Tigres after starting off at Feyenoord. So a couple of players here who have been at some very big clubs attribute-wise. He also looks like a pretty good player, so these guys might indeed have the wood over us in terms of overall quality. But as we run through during the course of yesterday's episode, we have improved our squad quite a bit going into this season. Unfortunately, we do have one injury. Daniel Edelman is still out with a calf strain off the back of the preseason, so no backup box-to-box midfielder. That'll be for both legs, I imagine, of this tie. So unfortunately, that does mean that someone's going to have to do a little bit of a job at a position if Pirani does get a bit tired in that box-to-box midfield role. But apart from that, we are pretty close to full strength. Also, Marco Farfan, who on paper should be our second choice left back, is suspended, just like Issa Diop somehow in this Champions League. But apart from that, we're at full strength. In terms of the starting 11, it's our new best one here at the New York Red Bulls for this upcoming season. So fingers crossed we can do a decent job here, especially in this home league, maybe taking advantage over to Mexico and try and make our way through to what looks like a much easier tie in the second round of this CONCACAF Champions League. And another quick look at the team sheets here for the first leg of this CONCACAF Champions League first round tie. It's our home leg. Our best 11, fingers crossed, the likes of Leroy Sané can come in here and make an impact. There are Tigres. They've got some competitive match experience over us so far this season. It's the formation I was expecting, but as well as Harvey Barnes, they've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. What on earth are those two doing in the CONCACAF zone? That's a bit weird. We'll just switch this over from vertical scrolling, of course, off the back of that penalty shootout where Columbus knocked us out at the end of last season. Unfortunately, there's an early highlight here, and it is for the opposition here in Tigres. Some good short passing down the left-hand side, but good interception there from Pirani. But unfortunately, he then can't link up with one of his new teammates, perhaps. And now it's here Tigres who get on the attack. That pass not quite on the money, but it's picked up there by their key player in Ramez Zaruki, who puts that one in the top left corner. It's a dreadful start. We go 1-0 down inside 2 minutes. Oh boy, we might be in trouble here against a half-decent team, and this would be a real disappointment to go out this early in the Champions League, because otherwise we've got MLS for a fair while before the US Open Cup and the Leagues Cup does get underway. But a poor start, 1-0 down early in our home league. And we go forward to the halfway mark here in the first half. Unfortunately, Tigres again here with a free kick, but thankfully we hid that one away somewhat, and Envy with a chance for us here to get on the counter-attack. Unfortunately, though, we don't quite get going there down our right-hand side. Of course, he actually should be out left, but thankfully do enough there to keep hold of the ball, and there he is again there. Now down that left-hand side, plays it back there to Aaron Zenta, pulls that one back there to Julio Cesar, our star signing, you could argue, during the off-season. A ball forward there to Pirani, but unfortunately that shot was far too close to the keeper, who can make a pretty easy save. But off the back of that, there is a corner, but unfortunately Breno will come out and claim it. You can see there stats-wise, off the back of that opening goal, we've definitely been the team on the front foot, but unfortunately haven't put the ball in the back of the net just yet. Still 1-0 down. And it looks like that might do it for the first half. Just those two highlights, as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, shock horror, being quite old these days, gets forced from the field injured. So I suppose that's not too surprising, but we're still 1-0 down there. One shot on target was very early. They had scored from it, but since then, we've been steadily building our way into this game. So fingers crossed we can find a way to at least make this 1-1 going in to that second leg. MV struggling on a 6.4, so Berchamus will come on for him for the second half. But apart from that, everyone else is doing an okay job. So we'll tell the guys that was fair at best and also try and pump them up for the second half. We really need a goal, because I dare say going to Mexico will be even tougher, especially if we're 1-0 down. And just shy of the hour mark, get the first highlight here of the second half. A corner in our favour, trying to put that one there into the centre of the mixer. Unfortunately, punched there quite well there from the Tigres goalkeeper, and a chance for them there to try and do something on the counter-attack, but thankfully held them up there for just a little bit. Now a chance for us here to do something down the other end. Renier makes his way inside the box, pulls it back there for Pirani on the edge, and puts it away top left corner, quite similar to the angle where they scored their goal from through their key player, the Algerian international. But thankfully, we make it 1-1 with still a half hour to go here in our home tie. So fingers crossed, this will at least be the scoreline going to that second leg, and maybe a bit more fitness at a competitive level might help us out, even though that second leg will be tricky away from home. But that makes it 1-1, and stats-wise, I think we deserve that. Zanotti, though, on a 6.4, so we'll take him off the back of making it 1-1 for Genesis, aren't we? But right back in this one, all square with a half hour left. And only a few minutes off back of that goal and sub. Now I've got a throw in here down our left-hand side, played in there to Pirani, who goes looking for a double. It's a wonderful effort, but unfortunately it comes off the woodwork. Then Renier tries to win us a penalty. Unfortunately, a bit of a big dive there, floated into the mixer, and they hit it clear, albeit we get this ball back now and are again on the attack, but unfortunately goes back to Wisdonami, and that highlight comes to an end. Definitely feels like we're now the team on the front foot, but it's still locked up at 1-1. But now Leroy Sané drops down to a red hut. Obviously is getting on our new DP for this season, so probably a good idea to take him off to make sure he won't get injured. James Robinson is the backup in that advanced playmaker role, so there'll be our third sub. 2 left for our final stoppage. Still 1-1 with 20 minutes left. And only a few minutes off back that sub there of Leroy Sané. Now it's a free kick for Tigres, albeit quite deep inside of their own half. But to be fair, when they are on the ball, they do look quite slick passing-wise. And unfortunately get something going here down their right-hand side. Montano will put that one into the mixer, and it's a goal there for Dyke. There are some really weird players on this team, but Dyke puts that one away. It is not ideal going into that away leg, but Montero there with some good work, and Dyke will put that one home. He makes it 2-1 with 15 minutes left here. We're in a bit of trouble. Renier now goes down to a red hearts. Coming on for him will be Zhao Hongyu, one of the players we signed from our academy last season. Also, a bit of a fair debut here from Facundo Molina. Louis Oliveira will come on for him. So definitely using some of our squad players here in this Champions League game. Fingers crossed they can help us make this 2-2. There's a highlight off the back of that sub and also the restart. So fingers crossed here it might be a swift reply. Unfortunately, not looking like the low ball over the top there looking. I think that was still for Molina, but unfortunately he can't quite get there. Now they pump that one deep. We just do enough there to keep hold of that ball. Thankfully, we do look a bit rusty in this game. Played a lot of games in pre-season, but unfortunately it doesn't look like our guys are gelling just yet with the system. So maybe we made a few too many transfers going into a Champions League campaign. Not ideal. Maybe one more season here might be good for us going into a Champions League. We'll see if there's time for that. Thankfully, that Tigres shot goes well over the bar. Still 2-1 down with 15 minutes left. And just about to make our way into the last 5 minutes of this game stats-wise, we still look like the team on the front foot, apart from the fact their XG a lot higher than ours. But with that in mind, we're going to play a bit wider and also go a bit more attacking here in terms of player roles. And also, we'll switch our mentality as well. We may as well, because going away from home, I don't really want to be behind. To be fair, if they make it 3-1, that's even worse. We can maybe turn around a 1-goal deficit. Ideally, we'll find a way here to grab a goal back and make it 2-2. But a poor pass there that might have been from our goal scorer in Pirani and Barnes here. We'll find Daiku goes looking for a double, but thankfully Frigerio comes up with a good save off the back of that, hopefully before this corner goes through. If we change to positive, it might cut it out. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We're still going to have to see this corner where Tigres could really put us to bed here and make it 3-1 in this first league. Of course, they take their time as we make our way into 4 minutes of edit, but thankfully Figueroa does come out and claim that we'll go attacking, and he actually throws it out quite quickly to Zentner, who tries to make his way forward, but unfortunately that highlight does get cut out, and we make our way through the 4 minutes of added time. It's a defeat in our first game this season, and it puts us on the back foot heading in to that second leg. Their goalkeeper had a blinder, truth be told. He had to, because in terms of our shot efficiency, it was pretty good. 12 overall, 11 on target, but unfortunately, with less shots, Tigres, they beat our goalkeeper a few times there through Zaluki as well as Daryl Dyke. Pirani thankfully made it 1 on the hour mark, but unfortunately, Daryl Dyke comes off the bench and gives Tigres a 2-1 lead heading in to that second leg. So I think our guys might still need a bit more time together before we get stuck in to that second leg. So hopefully the KloppBot's hotspots can help us gel a bit more before that second leg. So we've gone for a week and arrived here in San Nicolas de la Garza, which if you're wondering is quite close to Monterrey, so it probably means we won't need to do one of these if we take on those guys in the League's Cup at some stage, if we don't take them on later in the Champions League, if we don't pick up a win in this upcoming game. But 3 hotel recommendations here from the KloppBot. The bottom of them is a 4-star hotel and decent reviews, so we're going to stay there at the Wyndham Garden Monterrey Norte, so it might be a place we can get a bit Norte at off the back of this game. Either way, if we win or lose, can get on the booze and hopefully forget about this trip to Mexico. This hotel provides spacious rooms, a fitness centre and on-site restaurants. So to be fair, it sounds like most things we need are there. Its location offers easy access to key areas in San Nicolas de la Garza, ensuring convenience for the team. So we'll check out the website here for this hotel. There's 37 photos. There's the entrance of the place. You can see there it's in Monterrey as the name suggests. Going forward a bit further, another photo of the entrance, and that's one of the desks itself. Let's go forward a bit more. There's a lounge and there's another one of the lounges. We'll just see if we can find some photos of the rooms. Indeed we do. That room though does look a little bit average. Hopefully there's some better ones. There's a double room. That'll be for some of the players who get a bit friendly. There's a bit more of a nicer single room, as is that one. There's the bathroom. Truth be told, I think they could do a bit better being a 4-star hotel, but going down further, there's the toilet and bath. Don't know if we need to see too much more here of the bathroom. There's another image of the bed. There was a TV there, so we'll definitely be staying in one of those rooms. The players don't need that distractions. They can focus on their game off the back of that first leg, which was pretty average, truth be told, albeit I don't think we were too bad, but fingers crossed we can turn this around. There's a swimming pool that, to be fair, does look quite nice, might be quite useful as well in the Mexican heat, albeit quite early in the season. It's probably still winter time up there in North America. There's the fitness center. It looks half decent. There's a breakfast buffet. Those must be the dining tables. And going down a bit further, a bit more food, some outdoor seating, and also we've got some cold beverages. So I think now we're onto food. Not too sure if we'll see any images of what they cook up at night time, but it's supposed to be a 4-star hotel. Fingers crossed it does a decent job and looks after us before this big game, which we do need to win. So there's the accommodation we're going to be staying at there for this clash where we take on Tigres. Let's now make our way over to the free activities the KloppBot's picked out. Now first up, he wants us to do some shopping in a shopping mall called Paseo La Fe. It could be Paseo or it could be Paseo. I think Paseo here in New Zealand is toilet roll, so we might just call that Paseo instead to make it sound a bit more luxurious. But we're going to explore there a modern shopping mall offering a variety of retail stores, dining options and entertainment venues. It's an excellent place for team members to relax, shop or enjoy a meal together. So hopefully this might be some team bonding, help the guys gel a bit more than they were in that first league. Over to TripAdvisor. Now to be fair, there's some reviews for this place, but it was all the way back in 2019, so I'm not too sure if this place even still exists, but apparently it's quite nice. There's some photos, we'll check them out. But to be fair, it's of a shopping mall. A lot of them are of the car park. Apparently there's something there which is called Liverpool. Not too sure if that relates to the football club. Probably not. There's a photo there of a bit of a carousel on the outside, and it looks like a little bit of a partly outdoor shopping mall, quite similar to some stuff I saw over in South Korea a couple of years ago. But indeed, it does look like there's a fair few shops, and also there should be some quite decent food options. Should be some tacos and whatnot over there in Mexico, so that's the first place we're going to go there, do some shopping and do some eating over at Paseo La Fe. Next up though, it's one of the KloppBot's favourite things to do when we go away, a team building scavenger hunt in Monterey. We'll try and organise a customised scavenger hunt in nearby Monterey through the Go game. This interactive activity promotes teamwork, communication and problem solving skills as players navigate the city to complete challenges. Let's check out the website where the KloppBot did find this one. Now apparently there's 4 different options of places you can do your scavenger hunts, and of course we all know what scavenger hunts like these days. The KloppBot woman loves them. We've got 4 options. We've got Barrio and Tigres. There's some ending venues there that they recommend. That one with a watering hole with live music. I've also got a place in that area with a craft brewery that does tacos. To be fair, that place already sounds like a bit of a winner. A few more bars, and they've got a bit of a steakhouse / Italian restaurant as well. So to be fair, Barrio and Tigres does sound quite good. Below that, Plaza Zaragoza, they've also got a place which is beers, cocktails and whatnot. But to be fair, not as many descriptions about the other place, so I do think still Barrio and Tigres does sound quite good. I think there's even a place on one of the Taste-Made Samsung TV channels called Barrio Dog, but I think that's back in the USA. Macro Plaza, not too much information about that place, and the one at the bottom sounds a bit more kid-friendly, so I think for our scavenger hunt we might be going to Barrio and Tigres, and hopefully the boys will enjoy a scavenger hunt. To be fair, our New York Red Bull guys haven't done as many of those as some of the fellas did back at Omiya Arudija or RB Leipzig. And around our time off here before this big game in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions League, we'll explore Fundadora Park. We'll take a trip there, a vast urban park featuring historic industrial structures, museums, gardens and recreational areas. The team can enjoy leisurely walks, visit cultural exhibits or engage in light physical activities in a scenic environment. So to be fair, this might be quite good before the game, just loosen the legs and hopefully be a bit more prepared than we were for that first league. Here's a quick look at what this place does look like. That thing there almost looks like something out of one of the Austin Powers movies. You've also got there some other stuff going on, a big old wheel which spins around quite quickly, and there might be some other stuff as well. Let's see if we can click on the photos here. Going down further, you can do a bit of kite flying there, and going on further, there's some quite nice lakes that you can walk around there on the boardwalk. There's a little bit there of a train you can hop on, and also a bit more kitey sort of stuff there that you can do. There's that big ball that we saw before, which is rather massive. You can probably see that from outer space, as I said, might have featured in one of the Austin Powers movies. There's that big wheel, and there's a fair bit of water as well that you can take a look at. You can see there, it's quite a decent sized place. We'll cruise around there, and hopefully those free activities will get our fellas ready to turn this deficit around and make our way through the second round of the CONCACAF Champions League. And here are the team sheets for the second leg here as we are 2-1 down. There are Tigres, a few changes. No Harvey Barnes, they've got Dyke up front, obviously, scored in that previous game. But does look like a little bit of a rotated team, so maybe we can make the most of that. In terms of us, Garcia comes in at right back. Aren't we on a heavy workload? And unfortunately, Zanotti has picked up an injury in training off the back of that first game, but thankfully, that's our only change from that first leg. Hopefully, these guys can improve and turn around this 1-goal deficit.
Yeah.
And not even a highlight yet, and we've got an injury in this game. Envy, our first choice left winger, has picked up another niggle, so he's now starting to get a bit injury prone here at the New York Red Bulls. Berchamus will come on for him. Not really ideal this early in the game, albeit off the back of that, we do have a free kick, but unfortunately Sane can't quite link up with anyone. Now Tigres here start to get themselves on the counter-attack, albeit thankfully we are putting them under a fair bit of pressure early. But as I say that, their passing looks just as slick as it did in that first leg, but thankfully a good tackle there from Zenta, who steps in. Pirani on the attack, but unfortunately, bit of a loose touch from him, and Tigres do get this ball back, and some good short passing as well. Dyke there will find Aceves, now Nevada forward to Daryl Dyke, who puts that one away in the top left corner. Frigerio got completely wrong-footed. It's another dreadful start and injury. We go 1-0 down. We're in all sorts of trouble early in this season's Champions League, albeit, as I said, pretty tough tie in the first league, but a couple of our centre-backs there, it looks like, do step up out of line, and Daryl Dyke is just sitting in behind them in line with our fullbacks, puts that one away. They're 2 goals down early in the second leg. Not ideal at all. Fingers crossed here we can get a goal back from this corner, which we do have. Unfortunately, though, a decent save there from the Tigres goalkeeper, either that or it came off the woodwork, and they just do enough there to clear their line. So unfortunately, a chance for us there, which we don't take, to get that gap back to only 1 goal. And only a few minutes on from that previous chance, which we did have now for us here inside the final third, Pirani is on the ball. We'll try and float that one far post, but unfortunately Breno will come out and claim that quite safely off the back, of course, having a pretty good first leg, only conceding 1 goal when we hit 11 shots on target. So hopefully our ratio today does improve in terms of goals compared to those shots on target. But unfortunately Tigres here are on the attack yet again. They float that one far post. Emmy will hit it away, but nowhere near any teammate. They fizz it into the mixer, and Daryl Dyke has picked up another goal. Seriously, he's an absolute stud, it looks like, here at Tigres. And I think now we might be going out of the Champions League. Still got 70 minutes left, but we're in all sorts of trouble. We're 3 goals down and looking unlikely, to be fair. That's a bit of a fortunate goal there. I think one of our defenders, that ball came off, it fell to Dyke, who put it away, gets himself on a hat-trick, makes it 2-0 on the day, and we're 4-1 down on aggregate. And we go forward to the half-hour mark. Now we're off the back of the encouragement of a corner. Here we go, near post, and thankfully Antonio Tikvich pops up with his first goal for the club, and maybe it's a chance for us here to work our way back into this game. Hopefully one more goal before half-time might give us a shot, but a really poor start. Thankfully, we turn it around there with a set piece. Hopefully, we'll be a bit more dangerous from those this season with some tall timber at the back. Obviously, got Colin Moore, who can come on off the bench as well, who's a massive lad if someone like Wisdom Ami does continue to go a bit averagely. Also, Zach Garcia not doing too well, so we're probably going to take him off here at halftime on that 6.3. That'll be for Genesis. Aren't we on a heavy workload? But obviously, and all sorts of bother here in the second league. 2-1 down the day. Same scoreline from the first league does mean it's 4-2 to be fair. Frigerio also not doing too well, but probably a little bit of a waste of time to use a sub on a goalkeeper, even though it's blimmin' tempting. But yeah, not too good that first half in terms of the scoreline. Stats-wise, though, honestly, not doing that badly again. So I think he's just been a bit unlucky in our first couple of games of the season. But unfortunately, no good time for it in the first round of the Champions League. Could be out early as we're 2 goals behind Tigres. And 10 minutes into the second half here, look like there we might be on the attack. But unfortunately, Tigres do get that ball back and try and make their way here out down their right-hand side. But thankfully, so far, actually putting a decent press on them in this game and keeping them pegged back there just inside of their final third. But unfortunately, as I say that, not for too long. Gamboa starts to make his way forward there down that right-hand side. They float that far post, and thankfully that header goes just wide as they bring on their captain in Renato Tapia. So it does look like they're resting some big players for the second leg. To be fair, so far hasn't proven too costly, but off the back of that there, Birchimus is still struggling on a 6.3, so we might try here. Use Renier as a left winger and bring on Hausawi at right wing, see what he can do, even though he's a player. I was actually thinking about getting rid of going into this season. We'll see if he can do it, but better than Hong Yu did in that previous game, as we're still at 2 goals down. And going forward nearly 10 minutes from that sub that we did make at the hour mark, there's a corner for us here looking for our second goal from set piece in this game. Renier gets that ball back there, goes into Molina, who picks out Hausawi, who buries it bottom right corner. Fingers crossed that he did stay onside, because this would get us right back into this game with only 20 minutes left. The players are celebrating. He makes it 2-2 on the day. So thankfully, a bit of fight here off the back of that shocking start that we did make. Molina, he picks up an assist, so thankfully turns around his poor aim, because before then he was probably going to come off instead. Leroy Sané drops down to a red heart, so I dare say here Renier might need to go back to the advanced playmaker, albeit with Birchimus having come off the field. I'm not too sure if we've got too many left wing options, truth be told, so maybe that's not the best idea. Maybe instead we bring on again someone like Robinson or even Jimenez in that advanced playmaker role, just to make sure that Leroy Sané, despite the fact he's doing a lot better than he did in our first game, doesn't pick up an injury. And we still have one more sub left. Aaron Zenta, to be fair, not been going too well today on a 6.5. So Marco Farfan back in the squad for this game from suspension can come on for him. That's all our subs used. Hopefully, we can find a way to score one more goal and take this one to either extra time or a penalty shootout, albeit, as we know, so far in the save here at New York, we've not been too good at penalty shootouts. Unfortunately here, Tigres get on the attack. Daryl Dyke looking for a hat-trick, but thankfully just pulls that one wide as he looks to put them back in front and complete that hat-trick. But thankfully, we are still in this game. Stats-wise, definitely the team who have been better, but their XG is still quite even. So far this season, it looks like our defense here has been a little bit average, albeit that could just be that Tigres are a really good team from Mexico, as we saw predicted to finish second in the MX this upcoming season. Bit harsh, as I said a few times now, to get them this early in the competition, but Diop plays that one for their Tapia. Now looks like they've got a quite strong team out here late in the second league. They take a chance on there from outside the box, but thankfully that one goes just over the bar. Make our way now the last 5 minutes of this game. We're doing not badly, but it's probably time for us again here to go a bit more attacking to see if that gets us on the front foot a little bit more. Let's go more attacking as well with some of these player roles to try and grab a goal to take this one to either extra time or a penalty shootout. Hopefully, seeing as momentum might now be on our side. So a few more positive player roles here late on in this game as we start to make our way into 4 minutes of added time. The XG is higher than ours, but honestly, overall shots and shots on target in our favour yet again. But unfortunately, our new look attack not doing too well. It's a 2-2 draw, to be fair. Did quite well to come back from 2-0 down early in that away leg, but unfortunately, that first leg at home does prove costly. Daryl Dyke there, an absolute pest over both legs. He scored 3 of the 4 goals. He was the key player there for Tigres, and we get knocked out in the first round of the CONCACAF Champions League, which honestly is the worst thing going around, because now we've got to focus on the MLS for a little bit until some of the other cup competitions start there in the likes of the US Open Cup as well as the Leagues Cup later on this season. But we get knocked out early of the Champions League, to be fair. Probably a bit lucky to even be there. A 4-3 defeat to Tigres. So not the start to the season we're after there at all here with the New York Red Bulls. We get knocked out in the first round of the CONCACAF Champions League. To be fair, as I said, was a little bit surprised we haven't qualified for that competition, but considering that was probably our only chance to actually win that thing, that's a bit annoying. Getting Tigres that early did make it pretty tough, but I think if we had a few more games in terms of competitive ones before that, we might have been a bit tougher there for them to beat. Unfortunately though, they had that edge and just get the wood over us. Our defence there a little bit leaky, and apparently the Borden supporters might not be too happy with that. The American heavyweights elimination has caused great disappointment, so we might be in trouble there. A potential sacking might be on the cards here for this season at the New York Red Bulls if we don't turn things around soon once we make our way into the MLS. And also, MV did get injured, out for 3 to 4 weeks once we send him to the physio, so he might be someone that ideally we could sell overseas, bring in a replacement, because of course our transfer funds are pretty much zero, so we do have to sell him if we want to bring someone in from overseas. He's been very injury prone so far since he's been here. He's a good player when he's fit, but hasn't been fit too often, so I'm not too sure about MV that might be a bit of a poor signing that we did make last season, trying to improve the squad here at the New York Red Bulls. So it does mean for the start of the MLS will be quite weak there at left wing, but fingers crossed we can bounce back from that first round defeat in the CONCACAF Champions League. But hopefully you guys did enjoy that episode. If you did, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back, should be the start of next week. I'm recording this on Wednesday night New Zealand time. I'm expecting tomorrow morning or Friday morning we'll do the video with the FM25 gameplay reveal, as they said they were going to at the end of January. Of course, it could be on Saturday morning our time here in New Zealand, because that's still the end of January in the UK. So hopefully that's not the case, because I only scheduled 4 videos of the series this week. So hopefully it'll come out maybe tomorrow morning or early on Friday. Otherwise, I might have to do a quick recording of a couple of games in the MLS. We'll just check what's coming up here in our first month or so in that competition. We've got Austin up first. That's at home. Houston, Seattle away. To be fair, quite a few away games early in March. We've got Dallas, Charlotte, and San Jose as well. I'll just quickly check out who the higher ranked teams are of those there on the season preview. And it looks like it might be Seattle and Houston, the highest rank that we play there in the first month or so of the MLS. So I dare say we'll come back for those in the next episode. Fingers crossed it won't be tomorrow, but we'll come back from the next episode and it will be away from home against Houston and Seattle. Hopefully bounce back from those defeats to Tigres against some opposition who on paper should be a little bit weaker. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.